Hey everyone, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing current players. I'm one of your three wonderful co-hosts, Ryan Stacy, joined today by Derek Kubicek and Josh Wessler.
Hello, listeners.
Hello.
Today we're talking about episode 2 of season 46, Scorpio Energy. I don't remember who said that. Was that even said in the episode?
I feel like it may have been said in the next week on Survivor last week, but I don't remember hearing it tonight.
Well, I'm very glad we didn't hear it because Zodiac. Something.
Ryan, your energy is giving Sagittarius right now.
I'm sorry, my chakras must be out of alignment.
Did bracelet break?
Ryan had a hard enough time with all the Taylor Swift in this episode, so
Oh
give
my
him a break.
God.
Between the astrology and the Taylor Swift, Ryan was just having a time.
And I'll be honest, and the Metallica.
He was going through it.
Wow.
You heard me.
Why you gotta be mean?
Discourse.
Because Metallica's not good.
Is it bad that I recognized every Taylor Swift song that he mentioned?
Yes.
It's probably bad, yes.
Look, Taylor Swift, Metallica, the shaking hands meme, having one good song each.
Ooh.
No.
Now I want to know which one.
Enter Sandman for Metallica.
Of course.
And Wildest Dreams for Taylor Swift.
That is a banger.
They each have one good song.
That's not even Metallica's best song. Nothing Else Matters is their best song.
No. It's not even a good song.
You're wild,
Coming out,
man.
swinging tonight, folks. I got some major Scorpio energy, and I'm not even a Scorpio.
Ryan, I think you're being a little bit emotional.
All right, so we talked episode 2. We watched episode 2 tonight. Wild episode. Train wreck episode.
Guys, are we getting the 4th installment of a train wreck season? The ingredients are there.
One can only hope.
It's just how it all comes together. How will this catalyze? I'm really hoping.
I don't think we are. If this vote would have gone differently tonight, my answer may be a little bit different. But, I think we were saved from a potential disaster, especially at least on a third of the season.
On the Yanu tribe.
Well, go watch the episode. Let's get into spoilers.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. We lose Jess tonight. And I think we were talking during the show. Jess is probably one of the worst Survivor players of all time.
Yes,
just in terms of overall skill between the physical, social, and strategic game.
If you look at her spider graph, I mean, we're talking near zero, like pretty much 0 on physical game, pretty much 0 on strategic game, and a 1 on the social. Not that she's bad socially. We all agree.
Weird, but nice.
Yeah, you can go negative in the social, and she doesn't do that, but wow.
All around terrible Survivor player. Seems very nice, though.
Yes, we're separating player from the person here.
There's just so many instances where she just is caught standing there like deer in the headlights.
I wonder
and
if she's
it's
just
so frustrating.
Super dehydrated. All right, let's get into the episode proper now. The episode begins with Kenzie saying she's a little worried that Bono is a bit too honest. Cut to tribal council. Bono's a bit too obvious. So nice setup and nice payoff for the beginning of the episode.
Bookends.
There was a lot of Banu early in the episode, and I thought it was actually going to be like clues that he was going to be the one voted off. But I think it was more just foreshadowing that this is just all going to keep continuing because it's just who he is.
It's a bit of a spiral tonight. The other main storyline on this Purple Yanu tribe is Tiffany and Q. They both see how good Kenzie is at this game. She's very social. She's talking to everybody. She's making connections with everybody whenever she can. So people are a little worried about Kenzie.
A little bit of a callback now from what I said last episode, because I was talking about how much I like Kenzie because she talked to so many people but didn't get caught for any of it and didn't really have any backlash for it. Well, it came around. So now I'm very nervous for her because I really liked her and really am rooting for her, but outlook not great.
One thing to remember, especially in New Era Survivor, I want to make the observation, I've probably done it before. The social game is the most important aspect of the game, but we're not saying go out there and be like super obviously super chummy with everybody because that makes people just as uneasy as you not talking to anybody.
Yep.
It puts you on two sides of a spectrum. So the social game is the most important, but sometimes that means you do need to prioritize and you need to make sure that your alliance is comfortable. So once you have that locked in, especially locked in by a vote, let's work on that and only be schemy, plotty, backstabby, especially if you're a strong player like Kenzie, as a last resort.
You need to keep your lines secure and comfortable with you and make sure the outsiders like you enough to not to idle you out of the game. That's the delicate balance.
I don't remember who the former player was, but I remember someone saying that you always need to be checking in with your core alliance. I want to say it was like Boston Rob, but I'm not exactly sure if that's who it was. But essentially, it's okay for Kenzie to go off and have these conversations with Banu or with Jess or whoever it might be, but she needs to almost recap those conversations afterwards with Tiffany and Q. Be like, hey, I talked to Banu about this, blah blah blah. Not really getting good vibes. I'm worried about him. Yada yada.
Over on Nami, Tevin and Soda, neither of them really trust Venus a whole lot anymore. And Soda does like Venus, but she's kind of realized nobody else really likes Venus, so she's gonna pull away from her. And Venus can kind of tell, like, oh, yeah, Soda's reading the writing on the wall. So Venus knows she's in trouble.
And it's interesting. We're seeing Soda do exactly what we just said Kenzie needs to be thinking more closely about. I like Venus, but my people don't really, so I got to reel it in. I think it's telltale of an extremely aware social game.
Yeah, but Soda definitely, I think, needs to fine-tune that balance a little bit more, because I wouldn't be surprised if Venus targets her.
I would be surprised.
There's other people she's more likely to target, but after this episode, I think Venus could target.
I would say I would add Tevin to that list because he's very expressive, especially with his facial expressions.
Wait, are you saying an actor is expressive?
Yeah, right. And he's got to be careful because he gives a lot of side eyes and a lot of that just, it seems like, to whatever Venus does, and that can get you in trouble.
She might be picking up on that a little bit.
A famous example is Winners at War. Ben caught Jeremy give the camera a fourth wall break when Ben said something, and from then on, him and Jeremy were not friends.
Over on Sega, Tim, Charlie, and Ben, they talk about having the guys alliance and pulling in Maria to try and save themselves because Maria's got that extra vote. Charlie's in the middle, and he's concerned that he's at the bottom of the Charlie's Angels alliance, so he wants to mix things up a little bit. He talks to Maria, and they decide to form a duo, a Malcolm and Denise style alliance. Flashback to Malcolm and Denise. Great shout out. We're big Malcolm and Denise fans here. So, we got a sub-alliance within the Charlie's Angels that I really like.
I think this is intelligent for both players, given where their tribe is positioned right now. Sega seems to be in an okay spot. They're competent enough to where they can compete in challenges, and then they're keeping their options open. For right now, this is a really good spot for both.
Agreed.
Love it.
On Nami, Venus is going to go idol hunting, as does Randon, as does Hunter. But Randon's the one who's going to find the Beware advantage. Same thing as last time. He can't get the clue to the key until they lose the immunity challenge. So he does not have a vote, but they're not going to lose immunity this time. So, Randon's a little bit in limbo here.
And they're dominating challenges.
Yeah,
so
they are.
It might be a while.
Yeah, it might be a while. I wonder what they'll do with this twist if...
what if you sweep?
Yeah, if they sweep. Increasingly likely. On Yanu, we get Jess eating ants, which is fun.
And
she has a personality.
And she's doing it so she doesn't have to talk to people.
Quirky, socially awkward, but nice.
Yes.
So Kenzie, Bonnie, and Jess, they're gonna go off and they're gonna talk, and Kenzie's gonna throw out like, "Hey, we could be an alliance. We could take out like Q and Tiffany." And you think the two people on the bottom, Bonnie and Jess, would be like, "Hell yeah, let's do it. Final 3, baby."
Thanks for strategizing with us.
Nope. They're just like, "Oh, okay."
That's mathematically possible.
Well, and there are two scenarios that you can come out of this with. If you are Jess and Banu, one, you could pair with Kenzie and be a core 3 here going forward, or you could take this information and turn it against Kenzie, which they almost like they want to do, but they don't
just
actually
a little
do
bit.
It's more instigated by Q later on in the episode instead of them, and that's not the way that should have gone after a conversation like this.
And here's the best of both worlds. The Ghostbusters rule, someone asks you to be an alliance, you say yes, and then flip it on her if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Kenzie sold it like this a little bit. Tiffany and Q are a fairly tight duo. I think Kenzie is not blind to that fact, even if Tiffany is her number 1. And based on what I've seen, Tiffany on her tribe should be her number 1. But that doesn't change the fact that a duo is a dangerous force in the game. I think you could sell that to Bono and... Well, you'd be able to sell that to 2 competent players.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to talk about them poorly as people, but come on. Like, if this is actually what happened in the edits being honest, I'd be very worried if I was Kenzie. I would say, you know what? No, we're just gonna stick with Tiff and Q at this point. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. But Jess is gonna tell Q about what Kenzie tried to do, and so Q is rightfully concerned. Like, can I trust Kenzie? Probably not, but you're on a kind of in a dire situation with this tribe. Q.
You're also playing Survivor. You can't really trust anyone.
True. So over on C, we finally get Charlie versus Ben in the Taylor Swift versus Metallica song naming competition, which Charlie ends up winning. They go well over 100. And I'm like, I don't know if I can name over 100 songs, period.
I'm sure you could.
My favorite band's My Chemical Romance, and I could name like 8 of their songs off the top of my head, probably.
Ryan, I think you could name 8 songs on the Swan Songs Hollywood Undead album.
Maybe. I could name some Hollywood Undead songs, but yeah, no, I'm nowhere near enough that big a fan of any band or music in general. I like music, but goddamn. But yeah, now a little something about me today. Metallica sucks. Taylor Swift sucks. MCR for life, baby.
Ryan is saying all this as he's wearing a Red Hot Chili Pepper
shirt.
I am
wearing a Red Hot Chili Pepper shirt. I also like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but again, I could name like 10 of their songs max, probably. And I've seen them in concert. I don't know. I don't listen. So to get off on a tangent, I don't even listen to albums like at all, really. Besides Green Day's American Idiot, I don't listen to albums. I listen to specific songs, just singles or other stuff I accidentally stumble across. But I never listen to albums.
Our favorite December holiday is Spotify Wrapped Week, and it's funny. It's funny when you get the personal side as well. We loved the podcast when we shared that information, but my musical personality was you start an album, you finish the album, and I have to say I actually did feel an infusion of pride that they not only thought of that kind of musical character and then also gave it to me, because that's what I do. I pick an album from an artist that I'm interested in. I listen to it from front to back. I don't memorize songs unless I really love them. But yeah, this is Ryan's musical style. Everyone, he's caught between the years 2001 and 2006.
Hey now, 99 and 2006.
Yeah, 1999 to 2006. Alt rock, that's the lane, baby.
Once you find what you like, though,
I'm very into the angsty alt rock and folk rock, or not folk rock, indie rock, like Monsters and Men. That's basically all I like. Plus some Sia, not just because of Survivor. I've always been I love Sia. But yeah, my musical style was like, you like what you like, and basically it's because I have one playlist on my Spotify account. It's like 8 hours worth of songs, but it's the only place I have. It's just Ryan's music, and it's everything I like, the 2 genres of music that I like, and that is it. That's all I have on
repeat.
For the listeners, Florence and the Machine is also one of those.
Florence and the Machine is another one I really like.
Yeah.
Mumford & Sons, some of their songs I really like. They're very yes or no for me. So anyway, Survivor, I suppose we're here to talk about.
Not just Ryan's taste in music.
Hey, yours taste too.
Very little. This was mostly the Ryan tangent.
Yeah.
And you'll never know about mine.
Derek's never guilty of tangents on this podcast, so you're not allowed to have it either.
Look, all I'm saying, Taylor Swift and Metallica are overrated. That's the point. That's the big point of this episode of Survivor.
I can't disagree more.
I disagree as well.
Well, it's gonna be wrong.
Perfectly rated, because I don't think you can say underrated for either of those two. So perfectly rated for them.
I've actually moved away from using overrated to describe pretty much anything, because everything is rated exactly as it's going to be rated. It just feels weird to me.
But things should be rated incorrectly.
Not by the masses.
Yeah, but the masses don't matter. I matter.
Then it's not overrated. Then you just rate it. N equals 1. 1 rating. Yours.
No. Society rates it one way, and then it comes to me, and I'm like, that's incorrect. That's either overrated or underrated or rated perfectly.
And I disagree completely, man.
Derek's being a little too philosophical, I think, for this.
Oh, Derek being philosophical?
What?
That's never happened.
That is a foundation of my personality, I think.
Over on Nami, Liz is going to continue to talk about how rich she is.
Whoa. Wow.
How natural.
She brags a lot, man.
I just want to know what her businesses are, because I know that they're probably all a scam.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far with it, but the fact that...
Not a scam, but probably like a pyramid scheme.
It's the same thing.
Okay, I mean, I don't know Liz personally. Does she give off a little bit of multi-level marketing energy? Yes, a little bit. But like she said openly, she doesn't need the money. And frankly, in this life, if you can get that bag, as long as you didn't like steal it, fine.
Like, good for her, but like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, if you want to win Survivor, don't go on Survivor and be like, I am filthy rich. Oh, by the way, every man wants me, but it's just like, do I want them? Do I want to really deal with this?
They can't handle this because I'm too rich.
Can they handle a woman who doesn't need them and makes way more money than them? It's like, I don't know. It feels like you've made that part of your personality, and that's giving I don't want to align myself with Liz energy.
Yeah.
Maybe bring her to the end because she will be a 0 vote finalist.
I don't think I could get along very well with Liz.
Nope.
And not just because she's rich and doesn't need, like, you know, the man thing. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I would love to have a rich girlfriend. I would love to be the trophy husband. That'd be great.
It's not about honestly, it's not about what she is or who she is. It's how
she says it.
It's how she's presenting it, and I just
it's obnoxious.
The 1% of 1% that we've been given to define Liz so far, obnoxious is kind of the word, and I feel badly because I don't know her personally, but wow,
Brandon, he's in a weird spot because he knows Tevin, Hunter, and Soda are at the top. The three of them are running the show. He doesn't want to align with Liz. He doesn't trust Venus, but he's going to go for broke and try to align with Venus. He tells her he's got the beware advantage, and she's on board because she doesn't have anywhere to go either. So they're like, all right, let's do this. Let's work together. Who could have predicted this? Not us.
They were literally going after each other last episode.
In a way, this is kind of like an arranged marriage. Like we talk about marriages of convenience all the time, where this is like, no, they were working against each other, but now they're kind of forced to be together, and that's where I think the difference is. It's not a marriage of convenience where it's like
it's a marriage of desperation.
Yeah, desperation. Yeah.
It's like the world has ended, right? And there's like a dozen survivors left, and you know everyone is pairing up, and they're the last two left. Like, well, I guess we got to hook up.
An interesting analogy. I'm sure we can make that fail under any kind of pressure testing, but you know what? I accept it. I accept your doomsday scenario.
This is a good rom-com idea. Like the classic, we hate each other, but we're going to get together but make it post-apocalyptic. A post-apocalyptic rom-com.
I was going to say, I feel like this has been done many times, but okay.
Post-apocalyptic rom-com. That's my new pitch.
We can do it with zombies.
Okay.
Add zombies. That's all I ask.
Immunity challenge time, and this one's a doozy, folks. We start off with there's some big reactions to Jelinski getting voted out, which is very fair, I think. The weird thing is, like, Soda and Q kind of get into it a little bit because they're all talking a little bit of smack about how they voted Jelinski off, and Q's like, you know, hey, it's time to put up your best five. We got our five. Let's go. And Soda takes offense to that and gets a little snippy with him, like. But why?
So a little behind the scenes, just with reading a couple of things since the premiere, there was some smack talk at the Marooning Challenge. So I wonder if this is just kind of following that, and it's just going to kind of keep on building. I don't know who was involved with it. It might have been Soda last time. I'm not sure.
Don't do it, folks. Don't do this, folks. Don't do smack talk. Like, if you want to come in, like, oh, we got this one. That's about the extent of it. Show a little confidence, but like, don't smack talk. Yeah, people can get petty about that kind of thing.
I mean, I actually really loved later on. Tiffany is going to tell us in confessional that she's so concerned with how she is perceived by the other tribe, the people on the other tribes, just because they've never met her, they've never interacted with her, and her, not only her performance, but how she behaves during the challenge is the only thing that they have to base off of. So if you're going to be smack talking, that's the only thing that people are going to be going off of. You have to be thinking about that.
When I think about public forum, our instances, like let's access the evidence bin, right? I think it gets as innocuous as Emily last season, public forum, throwing shade on Bruce for no reason. That's about best case scenario. Like, people are, you know, all right, that turns me off a little bit on working with Emily. I think there's more extreme examples like Tony screaming, top 5, baby, top 5.
My go-to example, Jervis. Blood versus water.
Thank
Smack
you.
talk so hard he got his niece voted out.
There you go. That's a perfect example. Worst case scenario, you lose your best ally in the game.
Yep.
Because you can't keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
So not good for Soda. I did not actually think that what Q did that we saw on camera was bad at all. It was very much just like, I'm going to build us up. Like, hey, we're here now. We voted out Jelinski.
We're at 5. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I don't think... maybe he said something that was cut, but from what the edit shows us, for the 8 billionth time, from what we were shown...
Yeah, 1% of 1%.
1% of 1%. What Q said was fine, Soda's reaction was weird.
It was strong.
But the challenge itself is crazy because it ends with what we saw last season, where you had to build a word arch, and Drew won the individual immunity challenge version of this, which was a much smaller, lighter version. Well, they scaled it up to make this a tribal challenge, and man, this looked hard. The blocks were heavy. This looked like one of the most difficult challenges ever, to be honest.
This is what I'm looking for from Survivor, is for them to change up what they do with the challenges, just because it gets a little repetitive. Yeah,
Sure.
they tweak things, but it's just like obstacle course into something else, into a puzzle. And yeah, technically this was a puzzle at the end, but really it's something completely different.
A strength puzzle.
Yeah, strength and planning and communication, really more than solving something.
Brutal.
So I really just like how this switched things up just dynamic wise.
I loved it. Don't do this when I'm on Survivor, please. Thank you. This looks miserable.
And boy, howdy, I bet they wish that they had voted out Jess instead of Jelinski on a puzzle where it would have been nice to have somebody who was 6 foot scary.
So I got a little bit of heat when I wrote my blog on Reddit. Somebody came after me for saying I was basically an idiot for saying Jelinski shouldn't have gone home. And that person, I hope you're listening, random Reddit fan.
Go find them.
Yep. What do you think now, sir? Ma'am?
You should go on Reddit and reply and be like, aged like milk.
Yep.
And that's still a Reddit thing, right? Aged like milk?
Probably. This is just like a good reminder for everybody
I know where this is going.
that I'm always right. Just remember that. I'm always right.
Might not seem like it in the moment.
Yep. Look, I put thought into what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm not always right. But I know I still have some odd takes once in a while, but believe me, I've put thought into all of them.
Worth revisiting just for a second, because Jelinski getting voted out was clearly a mistake for this tribe. I think this kind of, like, hindsight's 2020. Strength isn't everything, but you kept Jess, who wasn't anything. Like, you need to keep something, man. There needs to be something.
Yep.
And again, Jess seems like a very nice person, but I mean, 0-0, and then like 1 out of 10.
Jess is seen as the reason they lost because she kept dropping blocks. So the majority of the blame falls on Jess.
And this isn't the type of tribe that's going to be able to successfully pull off something like a Matt Singh.
Yeah.
There's no close group of people who can actually go all the way.
So Yanu's going to go back to Tribal Council. But first, during the challenge on Nami, Venus's foot got run over by a cart. She's kind of pissed about it. And she's like, I feel like no one listens to me. I told you guys to go left, and you didn't, and you ran over my foot. So she's rightfully pissed off, but I think she could have phrased it better, because clearly no one in the tribe is happy with her and willing to listen to her. Everybody kind of talks crap about her behind her back after she says that. So it's not a great situation overall.
Yeah, episode 1 set us up for a bit of a Venus redemption arc, or like Venus revenge arc. What is it? Venus is married to the god of war, like all of these things. But I'm not feeling good about where she is, even though she did have a connection with Randon, or Randon made a connection with her, rather. I feel like we might have just been... That might be a red herring where we're filling a 2-hour episode, and Randon might be like, you know what? I think I'm going to keep my idol.
Yeah.
And pray for a swap.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Randon just lets her go. We'll see.
But before we get... I guess we're going back to Yanu, right?
Yep.
So the music here... Reigns of Castamere, and it made me so happy. It wasn't exactly Reigns of Castamere, but it was
tonally very similar.
It was a sad violin. We're about to kill everybody. This is gonna be hard.
So we're on Yanu. Kenzie and Tiffany come up with a plan. They have a fake idol, and it's beads from Jelinski's water bottle that they took, and they made a fake idol, and they're going to hide it, and they want to get Jess to find it so she does not play her shot in the dark. And Q is in on it as well. So that is their plan. So Tiffany and Jess talk, and they're going to go idol hunting. And they hide it, and Tiffany brings Jess right past the fake idol, and Jess does not see it. They're like, oh, did you look over here at that rock? Yeah, didn't see anything.
Yeah, this doesn't really seem like a place that an idol would be hidden.
I looked there. Did you look hard?
You sure? So they can't get Jess to find it.
This is a perfect example of the phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
That was running through my head when we were watching the episode. So they're like, what do we do now? And Q's like, I'll just go give it to her. I'll do it myself.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
You can lead Jess to idol, but you can't make her think.
Yes. So Q's like, Jess, I found this idol. We're going to blindside Kenzie. So vote for Kenzie. Here's the idol. We got this. And great. And Q is actually considering blindsiding Kenzie. He's like, I don't trust her. But what is great is Jess is like, I'm not even sure this is real. It just looks like our camp decorations. It's exactly what it is.
Rightfully skeptical.
I feel like I need to put on my tinfoil hat for a second. Jess was feeling the heat. I don't believe she believed this was an idol hook, line, and sinker. We never got that.
Sure.
You'd think...
Yeah.
It is Jess, so this is possible, but you'd think we'd be getting more of a, why don't I flip this on Q, get him voted out, and keep his idol if she truly thought he had an idol. I don't know. Use it to build a bond.
Well, she's also got a zero strategic game.
That's why it's hard. But just from that confessional, I'm thinking she had a feeling it's fake, but like, Adam Klein, you got to try.
Yep.
Always try.
So Jess wants to, take out Kenzie. And tries to get Tiffany, Q, and Banu on board. Kenzie and Tiffany tell her, like, no, we're taking out Banu.
Q's on board.
Yeah, so that's really is up to Q what happens here before Tribal Council. So who should Q vote for, Kenzie or Jess, it seems like. Even Q and Tiffany talk about it. Like, yeah, Kenzie, she's worried about you, Q. So something to consider in the future.
And I want to take this conversation, and again, we might have just been filling the 2-hour run time, but I wanted to talk about D, our winner from last season. She had 2 people on her original tribe where she was the number 1. That's Julie, that's Austin. And she has Kenzie and Q. She is both of their number 1. If she would have allowed Q to talk her into taking out Kenzie, I would be seriously worried about the long-term impact on Tiffany's game, and my confidence in her would wane if she were to somehow allow Q to keep Jess or Banu over Kenzie at this point. It's absolutely silly. We're not going to get that, but it was just something that I thought of, and I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Yeah, it feels like, in theory, Tiffany's path to endgame really should be with those 2, or at least like deep into the post merge. A lot can happen, any swap or like stuff in the post merge, but it just makes sense. I really like that comparison, Derek, as far as like her game versus D's game, because it just that just clicks for me.
Tribal Council, Banu is going to be very emotional and very honest, and tries to frame that as a good thing. Everybody else is like, not always. Because Banu kind of implies that Jess is going home. And the others are like, well, if Jess is going home, you just told her. Like, you can't always be open and honest because you can give away the information to people. Especially because Jess is the one going home tonight. And we even get Banu asking Kenzie and Tiffany and Q who to vote for. Like, he's running around with a chicken with his head cut off.
Yeah, to Banu, this was a live tribal, but everyone else is like, no, hook, line, sinker. Like, I think even Jess is like, can we just get on with this? Please?
Yeah, and Tiffany's like, chill.
Stick to the plan.
And everyone's mouthing to each other, what's happening? Why are we getting soliloquied?
The paranoia gets to Banu here, and it honestly is a very bad look for him. We'll see when we get to the who's going next in each tribe.
This is one of those very famous like post episode 1, like episode 2 super meltdowns. We had was it Jessica?
Yeah.
With Bug in her ear, where she had a pretty good first episode. Bug came out and then immediately topples.
Or is it Jennifer?
Jennifer or Jessica?
Yeah,
it's one of the 2. I apologize that I can't remember her name, but we've had a couple of these, and Banu's joining the elite ranks.
But he doesn't get voted out.
No, he does not.
Jess does play the idol fake.
She tries.
It's gonna be 4 votes for Jess, 1 for Banu. Sure. Fine move.
Also funny was Banu putting his water bottle on his shoulder after getting one vote.
He's like,
And after Jess gets all the other votes, he just takes it off like, nobody saw that.
I am very confident in everyone here.
So what do you guys think? Was just the right move?
Yeah.
It's fine. Honestly, after everything that kind of went down with Banu, I wouldn't have been upset with them picking him really over Jess. He was just as much a hindrance in the immunity challenge. Jess was a 0. Banu was almost closer to being a negative just because it seemed like he was working against a lot of stuff that they were trying to do. Yeah, so it's a toss-up for me. It doesn't really matter.
If Banu and Jess were a little more competent, I wouldn't have even minded Kenzie vote for Q. But because Banu and Jess were so bad in this episode, it's like, sorry, Q, you got to stick with Kenzie and Tiffany. Honestly, what a tribe, man.
I mean, I don't think there's any reason for Q to go for Kenzie right now. There's plenty of time to do that later if you really want to. He's letting the paranoia of, Kenzie being too much of a threat or wanting him out because she's jealous and wants to be it just to be her and Tiffany and not have Q in the equation. I feel like he's basically just speaking a lot of nonsense into existence.
I don't know, because what we have to look at here is this a Matt Sink situation? Are just two people going to walk out of this tribe alive? Very real possibility.
Maybe.
Q could be worried that Kenzie and Tiffany will be those two. That is a fair concern, I think.
I mean, at that point, trust your relationship with Tiffany, and, when it gets down to it, you and her are going to vote Kenzie out.
Yeah. But if Banu hadn't had the meltdown, I think there's a fair path to go with Banu, and Q and Banu be the last two standing. I think that is fair, but he proved in this episode that's not really a good path. So Q's kind of stuck with Tiffany, and Tiffany basically can do whatever she wants.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you're going to bring along people like Jess and Banu, they need to at least be batting like a 6 or a 7 on the strategic game.
Yeah.
Enough to where you can count on their interest to align with yours. Like, even say what you want about Carolyn from season 43 a little bit. Or sorry, from season 44. Like, yeah, she played the game, heart wore on her sleeve and everything like that, but she was not a 0 strategically. She knew generally what needed to happen, and that's why she was a really great person to work with for Jam Jam and Carson for so long. Banu, he's clearly paranoid beyond all belief. He's not a 0 strategically. I think maybe the difference here between Jess and Banu is the fact that Banu contributes more around camp.
Yep.
But I would have been fine with Banu going home here. And I see where you're talking about with Q basically knowing that Tiffany is two people's number one. Okay, well, I want to be her only number one. I want to be her only option. There is an opportunity to do that. But when you have a Banu and a Jess, you can't do it. So
exactly.
You go with Jess.
You can't let those people hang around long enough to tank your game.
Exactly.
Yeah. They are an anchor.
They're time bombs that could blow you up. Josh, what did Twitter think? Was Jess the right person to go home?
We had 77% of the vote coming in to say that no.
Okay.
They probably wanted Banu.
They probably wanted Banu.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kenzie.
I can't see Twitter. I can't see Twitter wanting Kenzie out. I can't.
I can't either.
Let's get into best and worst player of the episode. I'll start us off with our best player. I'm going to go with Tiffany. Mainly because she was kind of the mastermind behind the Jess vote. They tried the fake idol thing, which should have been great. And it ended up working, but with the second attempt. But that was mostly her plan, her and Kenzie. Kenzie got herself into a little hot water in this episode. Tiffany didn't. And I think voting out Jess is best for Tiffany on anyone on the board. I think that helps her the most.
I've got nothing to add. I want to just throw out an honorable mention to Maria and Charlie.
Yep.
Just for forming their sub-alliance, like with Charlie's Angels versus, I guess, like there's no name for the guys, but especially Maria not being positioned as the mom. And we talked about last episode, yeah, you want to be more like Denise. And then this episode, she's like, I want to be more like Denise.
I am going to give it to Charlie over there on that tribe. Tiffany was good, honorable mention and everything like that. I would actually push back a little bit on what you're saying, Ryan, because it actually seemed to me that it was Kenzie's idea that they do the fake idol.
Bit of both.
A bit of both, but it seemed initiated by her. I don't know. And it seemed like Tiffany really needed Kenzie to kind of bring her back on track after the immunity challenge. So it's enough for me. But I really liked how Charlie was able to kind of carve out this sub-alliance within the Charlie's Angels alliance, especially since he doesn't really know which way he wants to go yet. This allows him to innocently choose one direction or the other without being the only person to be that swing vote. Now it's him and Maria. And then he also had that nice little social moment to kind of branch out a little bit, since he's been really concerned about just being a little more socially awkward on the tribe. So his moment of challenging Ben to the song duo was really good for him too.
Derek, how about worst player?
Well, for worst, I'm going to go ahead and I think for the second week in a row, pick the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go with Banu. I think how emotional he is something that's happened since day one. But we didn't get to see a ton of that in episode 1, and we definitely got a payoff such that, I mean, you and I are in agreement that it would have been at least somewhat okay for Q to vote out Kenzie at this point, just because you have the numbers and you don't really have to worry about Jess and Q coordinating enough to work against you. He completely blew up that any notion of that happening. So even if he survive tonight, I don't think he's long for this game, and if he does go far, I don't think he can win. But we'll see.
A little foreshadowing for later.
We'll see.
I also have Banu. And it's day 5, and it seems like he's gotten worse each day. We got a ways to go. I would like to give a dishonorable mention though to Q. I just felt like a lot of the things that he did this episode were unnecessary.
Okay. I also had Banu. He should have jumped at that opportunity to work with Kenzie when she offered it, and then his meltdown at Tribal was bad. We'll see if what happens on the Who's Going Next segment, which starts right now. Josh,
yes.
Take us over to the Orange Tribe, Nami. Who is going next on Nami? Josh, take us over to the Orange Tribe, Nami. Who is going next?
I'm gonna switch it. Last time I was predicting Randon, but now I'm gonna switch it over to Liz. Yeah, there's the angle that they keep her around because no one likes her, but I think it's way too early for something like that. I think they get rid of her because no one likes her.
I feel the same way except about Venus, and I don't think Randon will save her. And I think if Soda's group can pick up Liz, they could split the vote and get rid of Venus if they really wanted to. So I think Venus is next.
I agree with Ryan this time. I have Venus. Did I have Venus last week? I didn't. I had Randon, so I switched to Venus as well.
I'll take us over to the Green Tribe, Siga, and I'm going to switch things up a little bit because last time I said Tim. Because now we have this sub-alliance in the middle, who are Mariah and Charlie going to go with? Mariah's got that connection with Tim. Charlie's got that connection with Ben. I think Charlie's Angels might be done for if they lose. Who do they pick, Mariah or Jim? Tough. I'm going to go with my winner pick, Mariah. It goes next in this tribe just because she sat out of this challenge, so maybe she's perceived as the weakest. And by her own admission, she's a little more socially awkward, so I'm a little nervous about my winner pick. I don't know if this tribe is going to lose anytime soon because Yanu exists. But Mariah, I think, is going next.
So I considered that, but then we were getting like Liz and Mariah talking on the bench, and I almost am waiting for a bigger payoff edit-wise for that. Like those two hanging out in a merge type situation. I know that Charlie and Ben competed in the song off. I think I'm going to stand pat. I think I said Ben last week, and I saw no reason to change that, so I am keeping it firm at Ben. Charlie's Angels will at least have one victim.
Yeah, I'm worried for my winner pick, Gem, if Charlie's Angels falls. Because I actually think that it would be her, between her and Mariah.
When angels fall.
Yeah. I tried.
I like it.
But I'm going to stay optimistic, and I'm going to actually stay consistent with my my pick from last week, and I'm going to keep it with Tim.
Okay. All right, Derek, take us over to Yanu. What's happening?
At this point, I think just see it through. Take out Banu, and I know that Kenzie is a big threat, but at least you're a solid 3 who generally need each other. I think the best you can do is go in as a voting block of 3 against 2 larger tribes and hope they eat each other. As Ryan would call it, the enemy of the state strategy at that point. Anybody, like, hey, we brought you guys to the party. Nice for Siga and Nami to meet. Bye. So I think you finish, you take out Banu and have a strong 3.
It really should be Banu. I have no faith in this tribe, though. It's a disaster. Faith slightly restored tonight by them keeping around Kenzie. So I'm going to go with Banu, but it wouldn't surprise me if Kenzie went home.
I completely agree with you, Josh. 100%. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think it will be Banu. Not shock me at all if Kenzie goes.
You guys are on thin ice. Your competence is hanging by a thread.
All right. Let's get into who cannot win this game. Again, we're in the pre-merge. We're only just going to talk about one person just because it's so early. Josh, who cannot win this game?
Well, I said just last episode.
Yep. You're right.
Yep.
100%.
Can't be more right than that.
1 for 1. I'm going to go over to Liz. And I just see nothing in her personality to be able to get votes in the end. I know that's thinking super far ahead, but she just seems like someone that no one is liking so far. So I'm going to take that at face value for the edit. Banu is tough competition, though. If I was playing Derek's game, I'd maybe stick a fork in Banu already.
Ooh.
But I'll let him do that since that's his
thing.
Hey, everyone's allowed to play.
So last time I had Q, and basically last time I was debating between Q and Liz, and I ended up just going with Q because he got more screen time. And I'm like, we only got a little bit of Liz, and it was bad, but I'll go with the person we saw more of. Now that we've seen more of Liz, I'm switching. It seems like at least Tiffany and even Banu and Jess all liked Q. So I don't think he's very good at the game, but at least he's seen as well liked, well enough anyway. Liz though, the F? Like what? What? Liz cannot win this game.
You guys, it took a week, but we all came over to Derek's side. At least Josh had a really good reason. It's because he couldn't have been more right. So congratulations on the W.
I had a really good reason too. I got more information than I had before.
Yeah, variable T. Exactly. That's what I've been saying.
Derek's favorite thing.
Variable T is very important. I'm standing pat with Liz. Surprise, surprise, surprise. But I am sticking a fork in 2 people this week.
Oh.
Because what's the point if not to take big swings? I'm sticking a fork in Banu. I am also sticking a fork in Q. Yanu is a complete disaster, and the only 2 people from this tribe that can win are Kenzie and Tiffany. I'm making a stand here. That's fully acknowledging that if Q and
Banu and Liz make it to
the final 3, that's a fight between Banu and Q. Liz loses.
Okay.
So that's where I'm going.
Okay. I
Wow.
like this.
2
This
stick-a-forks.
works for me, Derek.
This works.
I like this segment.
2 stick-a-forks in week 2.
It was a heck of an episode.
It was a heck of an episode.
It made me feel some things, and nothing good.
Very little good.
As Ryan very pointedly articulated after the episode, this was one of the most Survivor episodes of all time.
All right. Last thing we got to talk about is the Survivor pool. We got to check in. We're all still alive. You guys had Q, and I had Tiffany last week. So how this works is you pick someone who survives, who's going to survive the next episode. And once you pick someone, you can't pick them again. So Q's off the board for you guys.
Thank goodness.
Tiffany is off the board for me.
Glad I did it.
So I guess I will start us off. I'm going to pick someone who has an advantage and is in a really good spot on their tribe. I'm going to take Maria.
Bold move. I want to get this out of the way now. I'm picking Liz.
Okay.
She's not long for this world, so I'm relying on Nami's strength to get us through one more vote. Because there's a lot of ways the season can go. I want to try and save myself some people who
get some of these dangerous people off your board early.
correct. And this is high risk.
Yep.
I may lose survivor pool again.
I'm banking on it. I love when you guys do the high risk picks. This is what I'm playing for. Josh.
I don't know how high risk pick. This isn't the safest one out there though. I'm going to Randon.
Okay.
He has a beware advantage, so if they go to tribal, it's possible that he could be a Jelinski and go out without a vote, even cast. That is absolutely possible. I think there's enough heat off of him for now to go either to Liz or Venus on this tribe, but I also don't think he's someone who would be super long for this world.
Okay. Interesting. I hope you both lose somehow.
It'd be heck of an episode.
Double boot.
Double boot. All right. That's the episode, so we will see what happens.
We do have one question.
Oh, yeah. Give us the question.
So shout out to Blake on Twitter for asking this question. And if you would like your question asked on this podcast, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or Instagram at Castaway Pod or anywhere else. And Blake asks, at what point during a meltdown at Tribal like that do you pivot your plan? Like in Heroes vs. Villains, Danielle got turned on because of her breakdown. Is that ever the right move? I did mention it during the episode, actually, when we were watching. Banu started kind of freaking out a little bit, getting a little paranoid. I'm like, oh, gosh, like, do you switch it up here?
Probably not, especially if you're pulling the plan. You give Jess a fake idol and then vote her out. I don't think you could switch it up there because then you've completely burned that bridge, where you haven't burned the bridge with Banu yet. So, it really is case by case, but I lean towards less often than the show wants you to think it is. Try not to switch your plans to Tribal Council unless some new information is presented, maybe an idol or something like that, and hopefully you had a contingency for that ahead of time. But try not to switch your plans to Tribal Council because that's when things can go disastrously wrong.
We need to be careful how we define meltdown. So if a meltdown is just someone letting paranoia get the best of them, or maybe they're just getting incredibly angry, I mean, those are two different things. If someone's having an anger meltdown, think of your Brandon Hance, right?
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
If we're talking about that, I would almost hope they just get pulled from the game in the 40s of Survivor, but if it's becoming dangerous and uncomfortable, that's when maybe you switch the vote. But if it's just Banu being incredibly paranoid about what's going on, irrespective of the whole fake idol with Jess, if you prove to Banu that you weren't going to vote for him, that can only build up that trust. Yeah, you can take him out next time and it'll hopefully make it easier. I would very rarely let a meltdown switch my vote at Tribal Council. I feel that feels fairly amateurish for it to happen like that.
Well said.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good opportunity to take in that information and use it going forward, probably in the very next vote. And I think that's exactly what they did here. They're realizing how much of a liability he can be at Tribal Council. Maybe get rid of that as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think well said, everybody. Blake, I hope that answers your question.
And a good question. I think that's a fun one. I don't think we've ever specifically addressed meltdowns at Tribal like that.
Gotta love the gold meltdown. Guys, fun episode. A lot of bad gameplay. We love to see it. Social media.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Castaway Pod. YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok is Castaway Consultants, where you can watch our videos. We have a website, which is the CastawayConsultants.com. If you are boycotting Twitter, I have started posting on Threads as well. It is literally the exact same thing as what I'm posting on Twitter, but if you like to live on that side of the world, then have at it. And then I think Derek does some stuff on Spotify.
I used to do some stuff on Spotify. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but all of our questions vanish. So at least at this point in time, there's nothing out there. What I'm saying here might not be evergreen. They might come back. But as of right now, I cannot post questions on Spotify. So reach out on Instagram or Twitter or on any of our other places for right now. I was enjoying getting the Spotify responses, but maybe they stopped the service for now. I don't know what's going on. So more to come on that.
Yeah, I hope it gets figured out because I really like the power rankings and the post-merge that we did and getting the listener average. So I hope we can do that again.
Yes, I agree.
So Spotify, get your crap together.
Yes. Yeah. Now we love Spotify Wrapped. But we need Spotify. But we need Spotify Interact as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can have your rap together, but you need to get your crap together too.
That was a good rhyme.
Thank you. All right, this has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.